All right, I just put the link into the chat so that when we do open up for conversation later, people can come online with me to have the conversation. All right, welcome everybody. My name is Justin Turman. I am your host with Automate Office Work. I am a techie lawyer. I worked for 10 years as a corporate lawyer, and I studied computers before that. So during my work, I automated the hell out of everything. And now I'm here to share some of my skills with you guys. All right, this is my website, automateofficework.com. You can find out about the work that I do. I do consulting work, I build solutions, and I educate teams to help everybody to take their work to the next level. You can always feel free to book a call with me, reach out with me, and we can have a chat here, or I can do some professional services for you. All right, today's conversation is about turning our intake forms into a request platform. And so last week we talked about intake forms. Intake forms can start out as being paper things, but then very quickly you need to change it to be something digital. Possibly intermediary step is to make smart PDFs, but ultimately you really want to turn your intake form into a live web page. Something like what I showed last time. This is an intake form platform that I built on SharePoint. It's very easy for a team to set up one of these. You can click on edit here, and the team can change these questions. You can change the name of the form. You can change the different elements like paragraphs and checkboxes. And you can take these and you can drag them around. You can delete them. You can change all the different elements of these things. Like if you have checkboxes, these are the different options. Do you want the user to be able to add their own element? Yes. Oh, that reminds me also, this event is also going to be a podcast. So I will try to describe what I'm showing on my screen in words so that it's comfortable just to listen. Um, but you can always come onto LinkedIn or to YouTube and find this content with the video as well. Okay, I am going to be speaking for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then the live audience that is listening is welcome to type questions in the chat or to come on with me and have a conversation, and we can speak about anything that you would like to. We can speak about the topic of today, or we can speak about your particular situation, and I can give you a little bit of advice on how to work through that. Okay, so I've got an intake form. It's really easy to edit. I'm going to go back to the page. I'm going to fill in this form really quick. Got a couple of things here. Email address. Just start typing my own, and I can then select it from a drop-down menu. I'm going to select a PDF from my desktop. I'm going to select a country. Let's do Netherlands, where I live. I've got a number. We've got a pick, a radio field. Okay, we've got a kind of a spreadsheet interface here. I can either manually type in some rows of data, or I can upload a spreadsheet. I'm going to upload a spreadsheet and just get yeah, it just says item description price across it. Okay, I'm going to submit because everything is filled in correctly. What do you know? It's going very, very slowly. Usually this goes a lot faster. I'm hoping I don't have a bug. I do have a bug. What is this bug? I have a conflict with another user. I wonder what that is. It's probably that it was saving so many things at once. I'm going to try it again real quickly. Usually there is no conflict of saving things. And if we have this again, I'll just go to another submission that I did right before starting the broadcast. Okay, submit. And it worked. There was no conflict. Okay. Your form has been submitted with unique ID, and then it gives a random string of letters and numbers. You can follow the progress of your request there. You will also receive an email about this and further updates on progress until the request is completed. Okay, so I'm going to open Outlook, because I should have received 2 emails about this. One because I am a requester, and another one because I'm on the team that's reviewing this form. Okay, I got both emails. The first one says you have submitted intake form, example form. You can follow the progress as this submission is reviewed at, and then it gives this long URL with the submission ID. Okay, and the other email says this person has submitted intake form, example form. You can review this submission. Okay, so one of them is telling me to actually go and review. So I'm on the team that reviews this. So I could click on either one of these. It's the same link. I can also click on it here on my screen, on this box that popped up. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. Okay, and it brings me to the submission of this form. Okay, so now we see kind of the same form, but now we see all the details. There is a unique ID for the submission. It tells me who submitted it, when. It tells me the status. The status is that it's under review. So the team that reviews this should now come and review it. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a first review. Okay, and below that, I see the entire form, but now it's read only. I see the entire form, not the way that the form is now, because the form can be edited, remember, but this is a snapshot of what the form looked like when it was submitted. Okay, so we see exactly what it was looked like and exactly what was filled in. Okay, even down to the fact that the PDF that was uploaded, I can click on this and it opens it in a new tab. We see that PDF, close that. We see everything, all the details. We see the spreadsheet that was filled in. I can also click on it. There's a download button beneath my little spreadsheet. I can download this as XLSX, and I can download it as CSV. And that's everything. That's the entire form. Below that, I've got a box for subscribers. These are people who will be informed when there is an update to this request. And an update is either a comment or changing the status. Okay. These people who are subscribed can also check this box that says status change only. So they might say, I don't want to receive emails about comments. Just let me know when the status has changed. The status could be changed to like completed, canceled. It could be out for approvals. There could be further inputs needed from the requester. Those are the different statuses. Okay. And anybody can come here and click this button that says subscribe. And once you are subscribed, that button now says unsubscribe. So for me, it says unsubscribe. I am subscribed by default because I am the requester who submitted this. Okay, below that is a history box. And the history just says today's date and time, and it says my email address, and it says I submitted. So that's the first item in the history. I can now make a comment, and I can say, I will review this, and I can submit, and it gets added down to the history. It also gets emailed to everybody that's on the subscriber list. Okay. I can also set the status. Instead of reviewing, I can say completed. And now I can say, I have finished reviewing. It is now ready for signature. Go get it signed and upload here when signed. Okay, so the requester can have the responsibility to go get it signed, and they will come back here and upload it. So I'm changing the status to completed, and I've got a comment. I need to upload a file. Draft intake. I am just going to let's take an image about today's webinar. Okay, I'm going to submit that. Okay, and that then comes down here and into the history. My comment, it says I changed the status to completed, and I've got a file there. Anybody can click on this file, and it opens that in a new tab. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. We took it from an intake form that used to be paper. It's now digital. It's now in a permanent platform that everybody can see who needs to see it. And now we're doing more than just keeping track of this work in an Excel spreadsheet and Outlook. Instead of using an Excel spreadsheet, we have all of the work, all of the steps are outlined here. Anybody who wants to know where we are with this can come. They can see the status. They can see the most recent comment. I might be telling a person, you need to go check with this group, get their approval. Now that person cannot just say it's sitting with my team, which my team is legal. So they can't say it's sitting with legal. They can't say, oh, legal is the bottleneck, because it's not sitting with us. It's sitting with them. So by using a platform, you are making it so everybody knows where everything is sitting, and they don't need to email you for updates. They can see for themselves. So this stops those weekly emails of them asking, where are we with this? Go look for yourself. When it changes, you'll be automatically updated. Can you let my boss know when this is ready? No, have your boss come. Or maybe instead of a subscribe button, maybe we need to put a little box there and have you type in your boss's email address and then have you subscribe them. But you can see the power of this. This just makes everything so much easier. Okay. There are some things that we could be doing to take this even further. And that would be, yeah. So I did this for a team once. They said that they wanted a platform that didn't just do like one form at a time, but they wanted to be able to see all of their requests for all the different types of requests in one place. They also wanted their requesters to be able to fill in multiple forms in a single request. So it was a bundle of these forms that made up one request. Maybe there would be a part of the request was to generate some documents. They also had some existing documents that needed to be reviewed, and then they also had some finished documents that just needed to go out for signature. I called it processing because it was signatures, it was stamps, it was these government processes called apostilles. So you could use a government, so you could use a document in one country to be used in another country. It was called apostille. Okay. So they wanted to bundle these. And so we did that. It used this system as its base, but then we had a bunch of other, like there were standard questions that went before every single kind of request. We also decided that sometimes the requester wasn't the same as the person submitting the form. So you might have like a secretary that comes to submit, and we capture their email address. We call them the submitter, but maybe the very first question is, who's the actual requester behind this request? Because even though the secretary is submitting, the secretary can't answer any further questions. So we need to know who are the real people that we need to be dealing with, right? So, and that was a standard question. We didn't want to put that in every single form. We just wanted it standard on the platform. So we did that, and then there was like a legal entity for our company, like which legal entity and which country does this pertain to. So no matter which form you were doing, there were these standard questions, right? And then there was also some standard questions like, if you need this to be signed, um, does it need to be signed? Does it need to be a physical signature? Could it also be a digital signature? If it has to be a physical signature, can we do digital signature first for convenience and then follow it up with the physical signature a couple weeks later? If it has to be a physical signature, what color ink do you need? And how many copies of this physical document do you need? And what are the exact addresses that these documents are going to be going to? These kinds of things. So there were standard questions that we built in for these different types. Okay. So I guess what I'm saying is that this could just be the beginning of something much bigger for you. You could integrate this with digital signatures. You could also, maybe some of you guys caught this, but in the intake forms, we were getting all the data points that we needed, possibly to fill in a document. So you could, in theory, here I'll come back to the edit page of this form. I'll go back to the edit. We have a place at the bottom for doing additional coding. Okay. There is the action script. That's the logical branching. So like if a person says yes to a certain question, maybe an additional question will appear. And that's what this is saying. If the answer to this question is yes, then we make this additional question appear. So that's what I call action script. But then there's this a submission path. What do we do with all this data once it's submitted? The default is to save the submission and send an email notification to the team. Who do we notify? Do we notify only the owners of the form or also the reviewers or both? By default, it's both. We can also do some custom JavaScript. This is triggered after the saving of the submission and sending an email notification to the team. We have a snapshot of all the data about the form. It's captured in a data object. And also we have the data submitted in the form also captured in a data object. And we give the name of the object. Okay. So we have a box here. We could theoretically type in any code that we want to be done with this. Maybe you do want to send an email to the team, but maybe you also want to take all of these data points and just fill in a contract template. And maybe we could even save this. All right. I got a comment here from Alec. Uh, this has expanded my knowledge in this area. I appreciate your insight. Well, thank you very much, Alec. I appreciate your comments. Happy to connect. And come back next week if you'd like to also and watch the previous recordings. But yeah, there is so much here, guys. We have everything that we need to automate all of our office work. Um, okay, so yeah, you could take additional JavaScript and get it to fill in your document. Maybe save it to the reviewing page. So when my team goes to review, we're not just reviewing the inputs, but there's already a generated document that's already filled in. So nobody has to go manually fill in Word documents anymore. It's all done. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty much the sky's the limit. And I encourage you guys really put in place these intake forms at whatever level you can, at whatever maturity you're ready to do it, and then take it to the next step and make a request platform where you can manage all of these. Okay, I'm going to go back to the page. I'm going to go to the home page of this intake form. And that is to show me all of my intake forms. So right now I only have one, and it's owned by this team. There's an owner of this form, which could be multiple people. There are also reviewers of this form, which could be multiple people. You can set this form, I guess not the form, but the submissions of the form, you can set them to private, so only these people can view it. I did not set it to private, so that means that this link here that says review, that means to review all the submissions. There's then a table of all the submissions. Okay, we can edit this at any time. We can also filter by the team. There's also a button here I created. It's to invite. And this is meant for people outside of our organization, people who are not in, who cannot access our SharePoint. So I would click this invite and there's a pop-up window. I'm not sure that it works now, just because I have been changing my code to make it work through web parts instead. But it asks for the email address of the person who will be filling this form outside our organization, and it sends them an email and it gives them a URL to come to, and that URL is not on SharePoint, but it is on any other server that you want to put it. I often put it on Azure servers since that's the Microsoft platform for servers. But then the user comes to an Azure page, and that Azure page is filled in with our, it's the same looking interface. We use Power Automate to get all of the code, all of this code of what makes up your form. It's actually in SharePoint, and maybe I'll share that a little bit. Site contents, go to intake, go to folders. I've got a form Y8. There it is. Okay, and all of my, here it is. You see this JSON. If I do it, edit, yeah, you can see this data object says all about all of the different types of questions and all of the different properties of these questions. Okay, so our web page essentially is just getting this data object, and then it converts that into our HTML and makes a really nice interface. All right. I wonder if there's anybody on. I think I'm done talking about this. If you would like help creating this, I'm happy to. As I said, also I'm working on putting this into a web part that anybody could buy in like the Microsoft Store or the SharePoint store. If you want to then take it further and create like the custom kind of experience I was talking about, you would need a developer such as myself, and I am available, of course. Okay, let's see. Is there anybody with comments in the audience or anybody who'd like to come on? I believe, yeah, I see in LinkedIn, I left a comment with the URL, how to join. You don't have to share your screen if you don't want to, but if you want to come on and just have a chat. I'm just waiting to see if we have any live audience members who would like to post a question. Let's see. All right. Well, if there is nobody, what can we talk about next? Um, Maybe what we'll be talking about next week then. So for next week, I would like to expand this to templates. I talked briefly about how you could connect this to a template library. So I think that makes sense to talk about that next. Let's talk about template libraries, how to get your templates in order. I do have a template library that I created, and maybe I'll just tease about this. In Outlook for my team, we have a button called Contract Templates. I click it, and I get a side panel that opens, and it gives a tree of folders. And I do have some other options. I can view this in SharePoint. I can view all the templates. We can open up the entire tree at once. There's a learn more document. There's a place to access and edit the files, because by default, these files are read only. But what happens if you actually want to edit? Well, that's here. And with this access and edits, it also allows you to edit ownership of these documents, because only owners or editors of the documents can actually edit them. Everybody else has read-only access. And I also have a link to email feedback to me, since I'm the developer of this tool. Okay, so I'm going to go click on this folder. It says areas of law. And let's see. No, 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 no. My team is actually in divisions. I click into divisions, and my team is diagnostics. And we have these two documents, a service agreement and a master services agreement. These are both docx documents. When I click on one of these, it downloads it to my downloads folder, and it's opening it in Word. And I have it open, and I can enable editing, and it is saved to my PC. It's saved to my downloads folder. So now I have a copy of this template. I'm not making changes to the original template, okay? And that's what makes this great, because it's so much better than just a tree of folders on SharePoint. Because if you just make a tree of folders, that means anybody opening up your document is opening the original template. And that's just asking for trouble. My old team had so many problems with this. People would be deleting and changing other people's documents. Okay, so we did this. So I'll show how to do this next time. We also then reflected, remember I had a folder with those 2 documents? Well, my team said, we want to show the business just these 2 documents. We don't want the business to be able to see the entire tree of folders because that's just asking for trouble. But okay, I'm going to go back to our SharePoint and I'm going to go to sites/legal. Come on. Okay, we've got a directory of our teams. I'm going to click on diagnostics. Okay, and we've got a page here called templates. So the business can come here and click on templates, and you'll see some chasing dots for a couple seconds, and then it's populated with those 2 documents, and it's taken directly from the template library. So we have a single source of truth. We have a single source of our documents, and if there's ever a change, you change the document in one place, and then it updates everywhere. And then you don't need to send emails to people to let them know that it's updated. The business was trained just to come here, and then they can click on this master services agreement, click on the Word icon, and it downloads a copy to their computer, opens it in Word, and they have the updated version of this document right now. Okay, so I guess you could do this. This could even be a question in your intake form. You could ask them, instead of asking them for all the different data points, you could ask them to fill in the Word document instead. And then they would upload the Word document in that form. You could do it that way. It's kind of 2 different ways of getting to the same end result. Okay. And I guess I have just another minute also. I want to talk about a little about the how to implement these intake forms, because you can do it in a very strict way, or you can also do it in a very flexible way. The very flexible way is, I guess, just a very light touch, is just to ask people like a yes or no question. Did you get approval for this? That's a very broad question. You're not telling them how to get approval, what kind of approval, right? Um, it's just a yes or no question. The next level of that, you can ask who approved this. And now you're trusting them, but you're allowing them to tell you to type in who approved it for them. You're not telling them who has to, but you have some assurance that somebody approved this and you've got the name of them. The next level you can do is you can say upload evidence of this approval, right? Now they're uploading a PDF of an email that they had. The next kind of level, I guess, is we could build our own approvals module. And you could tell the people, go to this web page, legal/approvals, and send this out for approval there. And so our web form, you would have a connection between the two. You'd have the unique ID of the approval. And then the form would be able to see the status of that, if it's out, if it's completed, canceled, all this kind of stuff. Okay. So I hope that helps everybody. I hope I am helping you to have some imagination in your processes. We are not the slaves to these computers. If you know what you're doing, you can put amazing workflows in place. Make the computer work for you, and you take your work to the next level. Okay. Um, I guess I'll close out then with my website again, automateofficework.com. I am available for chats, especially if you'd like to use me to help you improve your own work. Feel free to book a call with me. I'm available for consulting, just having chats where I let you know maybe the direction that I think you should be going. The next level is the solutions. I can build these custom solutions myself. I'm also in the process of packaging my existing solutions to make it so that all kinds of people can just download these as web parts, install them in SharePoint, and you're ready to go. I'm also available for education. I can meet with your team, help you brainstorm, because a lot of this, believe it or not, it's not just technology, it's getting the people to come along with you and getting your people ready, ready to think about not just technology, but like what do we want to accomplish? What are the problems that we're trying to accomplish? Because without knowing the problem that you're trying to solve, the technology doesn't always, it's not a magic wand, guys. All right. So, so I guess that's the end of this. This event is going to be converted to a podcast episode. It's also going to be on YouTube. You can find me on Apple Podcasts at the podcast is Automate Office Work. You can also find our YouTube channel, Automate Office Work, and you can find me on LinkedIn. My user handle is Justin Turman. It's Turman. Connect with me. I'm happy to connect with everybody. And with that, I wish you all luck and happy automating. And I'll see you next week, every Friday.